Scenario 1, Court or Administrative Hearing Appearances. As a real estate agent representing a client in court or an administrative hearing, I understand the importance of preparing thoroughly and presenting a compelling case. In this scenario, I will be playing the role of both the real estate agent and the FRIT executive. Role of real estate agent. Objective. My objective in this negotiation is to present expert testimony, provide analysis and opinions, and answer questions related to zoning and regulatory matters in a persuasive and confident manner to achieve a favorable outcome for my client. Preparation. Before the court or administrative hearing, I thoroughly research and gather relevant information on zoning laws, regulations, and precedents. I review my client's case and develop a clear and compelling argument to support my position. I also anticipate potential objections or challenges from the FRIT executive and prepare well-reasoned responses. Negotiation strategies. 1. Clarify objectives. I clearly state my objective in the negotiation at the beginning of the hearing, emphasizing my expertise and the specific actions or agreements I am seeking. 2. Proactive problem solving. I am proactive in identifying potential concerns or objections from the FRIT executive and address them in a constructive and problem-solving manner. I provide evidence-based reasoning to support my arguments and address any doubts or questions. 3. Explore interests. I try to understand the underlying motivations, priorities, and concerns of the FRIT executive beyond the zoning and regulatory matters. I listen actively to their questions or objections and respond with empathy and understanding, acknowledging their concerns and addressing them in a professional manner. 4. Flexibility and creativity. I remain flexible and open to exploring alternative options or proposing compromises that may address the interests of both parties. I look for win-win solutions that create value for both my client and the FRIT executive, while also advocating for my client's position. 5. Emotional intelligence. I demonstrate emotional intelligence by managing my own emotions, staying composed and professional throughout the hearing. I also pay attention to the emotional state of the FRIT executive and respond with empathy and understanding, building rapport and establishing a positive negotiation environment. Role of FRIT executive. As the FRIT executive, my objective is to challenge the expert testimony and analysis presented by the real estate agent and protect the interests of my organization. Negotiation strategies. 1. Critical analysis. I critically analyze the expert testimony and analysis presented by the real estate agent, asking relevant questions and seeking clarifications to identify any potential weaknesses or inconsistencies in their arguments. 2. Objectivity. I remain objective and focused on the zoning and regulatory matters at hand, avoiding personal biases or emotional reactions. I ask for evidence-based reasoning and challenge any assumptions or generalizations made by the real estate agent. 3. Assertiveness. I assertively present my organization's position and concerns, providing counter-arguments and evidence to support my stance. I maintain a professional tone and demeanor throughout the hearing, while advocating for my organization's interests. 4. Problem solving. I engage in proactive problem solving by proposing potential solutions or alternatives that align with my organization's interests. I am open to exploring mutually beneficial options and finding common ground, while also protecting my organization's priorities. 5. Active listening. I actively listen to the real estate agent's arguments and respond with relevant questions or comments to ensure a clear understanding of their position. I avoid interrupting or making assumptions, and focus on actively engaging in the negotiation process. Feedback. Based on my performance in this simulated negotiation scenario, I would give myself a score of 8 out of 10. Overall, I believe I did well in presenting expert testimony, providing analysis, and answering questions related to zoning and regulatory matters. I was well prepared and presented a compelling case for my client. I also demonstrated emotional intelligence by managing. Scenario 1, Court or Administrative Hearing Appearances. You, as the real estate agent, are representing your client in a court or administrative hearing regarding zoning and regulatory matters. The opposing party is the FRIT executive who is challenging your client's zoning and regulatory compliance. As the FRIT executive, I will present objections and challenges to your expert testimony and analysis, seeking to undermine your client's position and achieve a favorable outcome for my company. You begin by presenting your expert testimony and analysis, providing evidence and documentation to support your client's compliance with zoning and regulatory requirements. You emphasize your expertise and knowledge in the field, highlighting your qualifications and experience as a real estate agent specializing in zoning and regulatory matters. You also demonstrate confidence and assertiveness in your communication, clearly articulating your client's position and desired outcome. You anticipate potential objections from the FRIT executive and proactively address them in a constructive and problem-solving manner. You acknowledge the concerns raised by the FRIT executive and provide well-prepared responses supported by facts and evidence. You remain composed and professional, avoiding any defensive or confrontational behavior. You also actively listen to the FRIT executive's concerns and interests, showing empathy and understanding towards their perspective. You explore beyond the legal aspects and seek to understand their motivations, priorities, and concerns. You ask open-ended questions to gather more information and tailor your negotiation approach accordingly. You strive for win-win solutions, proposing alternative options and compromises that could address the interests of both parties. You emphasize the benefits of a collaborative approach and seek to create value for both sides. You remain flexible and creative in finding solutions, considering different angles and perspectives to reach a mutually satisfactory outcome. You also effectively manage your emotions and pay attention to the emotional state of the FRIT executive. You use empathetic communication to build rapport and establish a positive negotiation environment. You remain composed and professional, even in the face of challenging objections or aggressive tactics from the FRIT executive. You are well prepared with thorough knowledge of zoning and regulatory laws, regulations, and precedents. You provide strong evidence and documentation to support your expert testimony, enhancing your credibility and persuasive power in the negotiation. You use persuasive communication techniques, such as compelling arguments and evidence-based reasoning, to advocate for your client's position assertively. Based on the above performance, I would rate my negotiation skills in this scenario as an 8 out of 10. I effectively presented my expert testimony, addressed objections, and proactively problem-solved. I actively listened and showed empathy towards the FRIT executive's concerns, explored interests, and proposed win-win solutions. I remain flexible, creative, and emotionally intelligent throughout the negotiation. However, there is room for improvement in terms of exploring interests more extensively, proposing alternative options, and effectively managing any potential difficulties that may arise during the negotiation. To improve, I can further research and understand the FRIT executive's motivations, priorities, and concerns to tailor my negotiation approach more effectively. I can also practice proposing alternative options and compromises that could address both parties' interests. Additionally, I can anticipate potential difficulties or challenges that may arise during the negotiation and develop strategies to address them proactively. In the next scenario, I will make it harder by introducing more aggressive tactics and objections from the FRIT executive to challenge my negotiation skills further. Scenario 1, Court or Administrative Hearing Appearances Role. Real estate agent and FRIT executive. As the real estate agent, I will be representing my client, who is seeking to present expert testimony and provide analysis and opinions related to zoning and regulatory matters in a court or administrative hearing. As the FRIT executive, I will be playing the role of the opposing party in the negotiation. Real estate agent's response. 1. Clarify objectives. Before the court or administrative hearing, I would thoroughly understand my client's objectives and desired outcome. I would clarify the specific actions or agreements we are seeking, such as presenting expert testimony, providing analysis and opinions, and answering questions related to zoning and regulatory matters. 2. Preparation. I would conduct comprehensive research on the relevant zoning laws, regulations, and precedents to support my expert testimony and analysis. I would gather strong evidence and documentation to enhance my credibility and persuasive power in the negotiation. 3. Assertiveness. During the court or administrative hearing, I would confidently present my expert testimony, analysis, and opinions in a clear and assertive manner. I would use compelling arguments and evidence-based reasoning to support my client's position. 4. Proactive problem solving. If the opposing party raises objections or challenges, I would be proactive in identifying potential concerns and addressing them in a constructive and problem-solving manner. I would listen carefully to their objections and respond with well-prepared and thoughtful responses to effectively address their concerns. 5. Flexibility and creativity. I would be open to exploring alternative options or proposing compromises that may address the interests of both parties. I would seek win-win solutions by finding common ground and proposing mutually beneficial solutions. 6. Emotional intelligence. I would demonstrate emotional intelligence by actively listening to the opposing party, showing empathy, and managing my own emotions. I would strive to build rapport and establish a positive negotiation environment by acknowledging and validating their concerns. FRIT executive's response. 1. Active listening. As the FRIT executive, I would actively listen to the real estate agent's expert testimony, analysis, and opinions without interrupting. I would take notes and seek clarification when needed to fully understand their arguments. 2. Questioning. I would ask relevant questions to challenge and test the real estate agent's arguments and evidence. I would seek to understand the basis of their expert testimony and analysis to evaluate their credibility. 3. Counterarguments. I would present my own counterarguments based on my understanding of the zoning and regulatory matters. I would use evidence and reasoning to support my position and challenge the real estate agent's arguments. 4. Negotiation strategies. I would employ negotiation strategies, such as proposing alternative solutions, seeking concessions, and exploring potential compromises, to protect my interests and achieve a favorable outcome. 5. Emotional intelligence. I would manage my emotions and avoid emotional reactions that could hinder the negotiation process. I would strive to maintain a professional and composed demeanor, even in the face of disagreement or challenge. Feedback. Based on the simulation of the court or administrative hearing scenario, here is the feedback on the negotiation performance. Real estate agent, good job on clarifying objectives and presenting expert testimony, analysis, and opinions with confidence and assertiveness. You demonstrated proactive problem-solving skills and flexibility in exploring alternative options. Your emotional intelligence was evident in actively listening to the opposing party and managing emotions effectively. Areas for improvement. You could further strengthen your preparation by thoroughly understanding the relevant zoning laws, regulations, and precedents to support your expert testimony and analysis. Consider using more persuasive communication techniques, such as providing compelling evidence and reasoning, to support your position and counter any potential objections or challenges from the opposing party. You could also explore more deeply into the interests of the FRIT executive beyond the legal matters to identify potential